Hello everyone. Today I talk with Ivan Hirschowitz. We are in Blackpool on Blackpool Shootout. Thank you for inviting. Next, yeah, it's 25 years been in WST for you. So have you got any plan for the Silver Jubilee?
I'm hoping somebody's going to be able to buy me a gold watch for my 25th anniversary, but not holding out any hopes. Yeah, 25 years is amazing. You know, it doesn't feel that long. It's been a great journey, great experience working with WST, seeing many different things. Been very fortunate to go around the world, meet lots of amazing people, and yeah, hopefully many more years to come for me.
How snooker was changed in 25 years? What is the biggest accelerator of it?
It's a global game now. So back in when I started, we had much fewer tournaments. Maybe there were some years where we only had about 7 or 8 tournaments. The big change, of course, was in 2010 when Barry Hearn and Matchroom took over World Snooker, and from that point it accelerated very fast. Suddenly we had lots more tournaments. We had, of course, the smaller PTC events around Europe, including some in Poland and India. And then we suddenly started having more tournaments in China. We had some in India, more around Europe, a lot more around the UK. So we went from having 6 or 7 tournaments a year to 25, and from a big TV audience in the UK, but suddenly our TV audience around the world exploded to the extent that we now have over 1 billion people around the world watching snooker. So it's been amazing to see that growth over the last 25 years.
So, last 25 years you are in WST. What is your top 5 of the players who you work with or you watch them?
Top 5 players, Ronnie O'Sullivan, definitely number 1, you know, the best player of all time and the best to watch. After that, I would say, my all-time hero when I was a kid was Steve Davis, so I would have to include him. And then in more modern times, I would say Judd Trump is probably after Ronnie, I would say the best actual player in his ability to play snooker, you know, some of the shots he plays. And then one of my personal favourites is Neil Robertson, so I'd have to put him in there. And then John Higgins is obviously watching the great, so I'd include him as well.
You said Ronnie Sullivan, but he's 50 years old now. I don't say he's old, but who will be after Ronnie? Who will be face of snooker after Ronnie?
Well, of course we have Zhao Xintong now, the world champion, and actually, if you measured the number of people worldwide who would recognise or idolise a snooker player, Zhao Xintong now might be, we're not sure, but he might be bigger than Ronnie's ever been in terms of the number of people who follow him, because of course he might have 100 million people or more following him in China. And you know, it's very difficult to quantify whether that's bigger than Ronnie on a global scale, but Zhao Xintong now is a massive star. Mikhail Superchek, you know, this season has been done so well as a 14-year-old. I think we're in a really strong position now, better than we've ever been. People will say, oh, what's it going to be like when Ronnie's still playing? Firstly, I hope Ronnie's still playing in 10 years, and he might be, but if he's not, then this season there's been many tournaments where Ronnie hasn't played, and our numbers are still really strong in terms of how many tickets we sell, how many our eyeballs on television and on social media. So we've never been in a stronger position as a sport, and if Ronnie plays, great, but if he doesn't, then that's fine, we can live with that.
You say about Michał Szumarczyk, who is similar player from top to Michał, who is his talent, his technique, whatever?
Mark Williams said earlier this year when he went to watch the European Championships where Michał won 2 of the categories, he said he was the best, that Michał was the best 14-year-old he'd ever seen, or possibly since Ronnie O'Sullivan. So he's got great talent, but I think let's not put too much expectation on him because he's very young. Obviously there's pressure on him. Sometimes players are very good when they're that age and they never quite make the next step. But he's obviously got incredible talent. But I think that there's a few others. I think obviously a few of the young players from China, like Lan Yihao this season has really impressed me. Some of those are a little bit older, like Wu Yizhe, of course, has won his first tournament. Si Jiahui is in the top 16. A few of the British players are doing really well, like Liam Pullen and Stan Moody. And you've got the likes of Jackson Page and Aaron Hill. A few others from around Europe and from around the world. So, like I say, I think players sometimes learn quicker than others. Like I remember Kyron Wilson when he was 18 I don't think anybody would have said that he was a potential world champion, but in his early 20s he suddenly developed very fast, whereas Judd Trump, on the other hand, we knew who he was when he was 12, you know, and we knew, you know, you could kind of see how good he was going to be. So players develop at different rates, but I would say, you know, I wouldn't be at all surprised if any of those players I just mentioned end up being, you know, top 4 in the world players. You know, they've got potential.
Do you remember that when you first started, you watched with your father Steve Davis? So, what was the public that time, and what was you watching Sheffield Crucible, yeah?
Yeah.
So, how was changing that?
So back then, this is maybe like early to mid 1980s, snooker was more popular than football in the UK. It was the biggest sport. There were tournaments on TV every week. There were only 3 channels and then a 4th channel sometime in the mid 80s. But snooker was on regularly on BBC and ITV, so everybody watched it. You know, that even children my age, 8, 9, 10 years old, everybody watched snooker and have a favourite player. And you know, people like Steve Davis and Dewey White and Willie Thorne, Dennis Taylor, those guys, they were national celebrities. You know, they were on all the TV shows and adverts, and of course they had the famous slogan Snooker League. So snooker players were hugely popular in the UK back in that time. It was only maybe later in the 1980s and 90s snooker started becoming more global when they started going to China, and then, like I said, that really exploded in from 2010 onwards. So yeah, it's a very different time now.
I live in Sheffield, and every year when it's coming to a championship, we had rumors about move Sheffield Crucible to Saudi Arabia or China. Is there any plan to change the place from Crucible to Middle East or China?
So at the moment we are having very, very positive discussions with Sheffield City Council. They're our partners, obviously we're running contract there until 2027. So I have no other update than that. But yeah, we love Sheffield. Obviously we've been coming there since 1977. Everybody loves the Crucible. You know, it has so much history there. Every time I go there, you feel that history as you walk through the door. So let's see what happens.
It's December, but it's about 4 or 5 months to Crucible. What is your bet for the final at that moment?
But now looking at the World Championship, so hard to tell. It looks like Judd Trump's coming back into form. I am sure, well, you can never say sure, but I really believe that he will win more World Championships. Mark Selby, of course, just won the UK Championship. He's always one of the big favourites of Crucible because of his his incredible determination in the round game. So at the moment, I would say those two are the favourites. Neil Robertson also looks very strong. Sean Murphy, you know, who can bet against Jalzington. You know, and again, who could say that one of the class of '92 won't win it again? So I think we're in such a fascinating period in snooker because you've got those guys, all 3 of them turned 50 this year. They're still formidable players. You've got you know, the likes of Trump and Kyron, Jalzington, kind of probably in their prime of their careers now, and then you have these younger players coming through. So it's the best it's ever been, you know, and every World Championship is so exciting, so fascinating.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.